I was supposed to be on a simple business trip, just one night in a small town hotel before heading to the next meeting. The place wasn't anything special. Faded carpets, flickering lights, that faint musty smell old hotels can't seem to shake. But it was cheap, and I was exhausted. The woman at the front desk seemed off. She barely looked at me, just slid the key across the counter without a word. Old-fashioned, an actual key, not a key card. A little weird, but whatever. Room 313. The corridor to my room felt longer than it should have been, the lights buzzing overhead like they were struggling to stay awake. My footsteps echoed too loudly against the thin carpet. When I unlocked the door, a wave of cold air hit me like the room hadn't been touched in years. Inside, everything was perfectly normal. Bed, desk, outdated wallpaper. But something felt wrong, like the air was too heavy, pressing against my chest. I shrugged it off, blaming travel fatigue, and got ready for bed. At around 3 a.m., I woke up to knocking, not at the door, from inside the wardrobe. I froze, heart pounding, straining to hear. Another knock, slow, deliberate. It wasn't the creaking of old pipes, it was rhythmic, like knuckles rapping against wood. I told myself it was nothing, just the building settling. But then it happened again. 3 knocks, louder this time. I grabbed the lamp from the nightstand, holding it like a weapon, and crept towards the wardrobe. My hands shook as I reached for the handle, hesitating. Then, with a deep breath, I yanked it open. Nothing. Just empty space, dusty shelves, and my own reflection in the mirror on the back wall. I let out a shaky laugh, feeling ridiculous. But as I turned to walk away, I saw it in the mirror, behind me. A figure standing in the corner of the room. Pale, featureless, with dark, hollow sockets where its eyes should have been. I spun around. No one there. But when I looked back at the mirror, it was closer. I didn't pack. I didn't even put on my shoes. I ran out of room 3113, down the endless hallway, past the front desk where the woman stared without blinking. I didn't stop until I was in my car, speeding away from that hotel as fast as I could. The next day, curiosity got the better of me. I Googled the hotel. It burned down 5 years ago. No survivors. I was working the night shift at a small roadside hotel, the kind of place people stop at when they're too tired to keep driving. It was a slow night, barely any check-ins, just me, the flickering front desk lamp, and the faint hum of the vending machine in the lobby. Around 2 a.m., the phone rang. I jolted awake from where I'd been dozing at the desk. "Front desk," I mumbled, rubbing my eyes. Static crackled on the other end, followed by a whisper, "There's someone in my room." The voice was thin, shaky, definitely a woman. "Which room, ma'am?" I asked, straightening up. "Room 209. I checked the system. Room 209 was booked, but the reservation was for a man traveling alone. Odd, but maybe he wasn't alone after all. "Stay calm," I said. "I'll send someone up." Except there was no one else working, just me. I grabbed the master key and took the stairs, the fluorescent hallway lights buzzing overhead. The corridor to the second floor felt longer than usual, the air stale and cold. As I reached room 209, I paused, listening. Silence. I knocked softly. "Front desk. Is everything okay in there?" No response. I unlocked the door and pushed it open slowly. The room was dark, the curtains drawn tight. I flicked on the light. Empty. The bed was neatly made, untouched. No bags, no personal items, nothing to suggest anyone had stayed there at all. Confused, I stepped inside, glancing around. That's when I noticed the bathroom door slightly ajar. I nudged it open with my foot, also empty. I was about to leave when the room phone rang, its shrill tone cutting through the silence like a knife. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. I picked it up. Static. Then the same whisper, "There's someone in my room." But the voice wasn't coming from the phone. It was right behind me. I turned around, nothing there. I ran. I didn't bother locking the door behind me. Back at the front desk, I tried to steady my breathing, convincing myself I was overtired, imagining things. Then I glanced at the security monitors. Room 209's door was wide open now, and someone was standing in the doorway. Just standing. Still. Staring straight into the camera. I quit the next morning. I was staying at a budget hotel off the motorway, the kind of place that smelled faintly of mildew no matter how clean it looked. It was late, around midnight, and I'd just gotten into bed when I heard it knocking. Not on my door. Somewhere down the hall. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Then silence. I figured it was someone maybe trying to find their room. I ignored it and rolled over, pulling the covers up. But then it happened again. Closer this time. Curiosity got the better of me. I slipped out of bed, cracked the door open, and peeked into the dimly lit hallway. A man was standing there, tall, thin, wearing a suit that looked too small, his arms hanging stiffly at his sides. His face was wrong, too smooth, like it was stretched too tightly over his skull. No expression, just blank. He didn't knock again. He just stood there facing the door across from mine, not moving, not even blinking. I watched for a minute, waiting for him to do something, but he didn't. He was completely still, like a mannequin. Then, slowly, his head turned toward me. Not his body, just his head, twisting unnaturally until his empty gaze met mine. I slammed the door shut, heart racing, and locked it. I backed away from the door, straining to hear. Nothing. Then, at my door. I didn't answer. I didn't move. I just stood there, staring at the door, expecting it to rattle on its hinges, expecting him to try the handle. But there was only silence. After what felt like an hour, I crept back to the door and looked through the peephole. No one there. But when I turned around, the man was standing in the corner of my room. And now the lights won't turn on.